Hello, and welcome back to the Everything Happens for a Reason podcast. So today I have Ellie with me, and Ellie is a heartbreak coach, and I just thought I would bring her on, talk about something a little bit different, how you essentially got into your career, what you've learned over the years of being in it, that sort of thing. But if you would just like to introduce yourself and give us a wee bit of background.
So I have been a heartbreak coach for the last 4 years. I started off initially as a life coach, and then I niched down into heartbreak, but I'm sure we'll go into more about that. But yeah, I just help men and women overcome the feelings of heartbreak, navigate the dating world into like a healthy place, and make sure you're attracting that healthy relationship. And then also you lose your self-esteem and you lose your confidence when you go through not just necessarily breakups, but life in general. So I just rebuild people's confidence and make sure that they're feeling their best version of themselves before they get into that relationship.
Amazing, I love that. And how did you go down that path yourself? Was it from personal experience or?
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I was very great at attracting not so great people. I'm going to say some were toxic, but not all of them, and I hate that term if I'm honest. But I used to just say that as a theme.
Yeah, puts people on under an umbrella.
Under an umbrella, yeah. So I just kept letting anyone into my life rather than assessing, if this person is right for me or not. And so it got to before I started Tend, I got cheated on, and it broke me. And it was just like, I just couldn't understand why I was not good enough. I went down the path of literally losing all my confidence. I was like, was she prettier than me? Was she funnier than me? Was she more successful than me? And like, all of those questions kept coming up for me, and then I kept saying to myself, but why am I letting these people into my life? I knew it was going to happen. I knew that he wasn't right for me, but I was under this impression that I could fix him. And he wasn't the only one, so I can't put him, he was just the catalyst for it to then me go on to my own journey of healing and understanding myself, understanding self-love, and how to even get to that place. Because in my head, like, nothing bad had ever happened to me for me to need therapy or need to heal myself or anything like that. It was just, I just used to attract the worst type of people. And so I went on that journey, and then whilst I was on the journey, I also had an external life coach through my previous job. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, if you could do any job in the world, what would you do? And I was like, what you do? And she was like, well, go on then. Like, I can help you with this course. I think you'd be actually really good at it, and all of those things. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm way too, who's going to listen to me? Like, I had imposter syndrome more than anyone. But I still wanted to learn, so I went and did the courses that she told me to do. And then just got the qualifications and parked it. And then I went through a job interview with my current company, and I got through to the final 2, and I didn't get it. And literally I put the phone down to the internal recruiter, and I set up Tend as a business page. And I was like, if that's not worked out for me, I might as well go on to this next journey. And that was the beginning of Tend, but it was a life and mindset coaching business at the beginning.
Okay, and I love that how you mentioned like something didn't work out, so you were like, well, I might as well try it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What have you got to lose? Mm-hmm. But with regards to sort of how you got into it as well, and you mentioned, you were attracting toxic people essentially, but isn't it so funny how you get to a stage where it takes one person for you to actually be like, okay, maybe I need to work on something here.
I'm the problem.
Am I the problem?
Yeah, I think you do. Like, there's a pattern that keeps reoccurring for a reason, and unless you decide that you want more for yourself or you want better for yourself, and I knew what I wanted out of a relationship, but in my head I was, I wanted the marriage, I wanted the children, and I will say there was like a pattern in the sense that they were successful, they were the egotistical main character in the room kind of energy that I was going for, which was polar opposite to me. And so like, as much as I come on these podcasts and do things like this, I am actually quite an introverted person in a general big sense. Like, I would attract, I suppose you always opposites attract, and so I'd go for that because they'd make me feel I don't know, some find kind of special, but they absolutely don't.
But I suppose it does make sense because, like, even from that egotistical side of things, you were probably like, oh, but they're interested in me, they want me, you know, and obviously, like, at the time, you did say yourself, you know, your self-esteem might have been a wee bit lower,
Absolutely.
or you didn't believe that there was better out there. And I always, like, I actually put up an episode last week, like, talking about this, like, whenever you are constantly going through shitty relationships or shit situations, you just think that's normal. You know, you start accepting it rather than being like, okay, like, what is the pattern here? Why do I keep attracting this? A lot of people will be in the victim mentality and never see a way out of it and think that's the best it's gonna get.
And be too scared to leave these situations. Because that's why so many people stay in them, is because the fear of going back out there into the dating world is so scary that you think, oh, I'll just put up with this. And like, I could have easily gone back, but no. For me, once I was cheated on, that was it.
And was that the first relationship that you were cheated on?
Yeah. But before that, a lot had happened. So, not before that with him, but before that with other people. I had a lovely first boyfriend. He was lovely. And then after that, it just went completely downhill.
That was the universe trying to teach you, like,
me.
see what that was? This is what you want, okay? Stick to that.
And the funny thing is, he said to me one day, and it was always stuck with me, one, because I was actually annoyed at the time, but he said to me, if we ever split up, Ellie, you will get walked all over because you're too nice.
Shut up.
And I was like, we're never going to split up, so I'll just say that. So that's
what are you trying to say?
What do you mean? Why are you even thinking about that? But, and it's true, and literally the next relationship was just horrendous. Like, horrendous. And it was just, pattern after pattern like that. But it wasn't even like, some of them it was just a situationship. But it was the same type of people.
But I think, would you be an anxious or avoidant attachment?
I'm avoidant by default. It really depends on the relationship that I'm in. So like by default, I'm definitely avoidant. I get scared about commitment. I've always had my independence. And so, yes, I would say I'm avoidant. However, when I've been with these type of men, they do develop me into an anxious, which then in turn has turned me into a fearful avoidant, which is the worst that you can have. But then my last relationship, I would say that I was, because he made me feel this way, I was so secure. I was like, go out, enjoy yourself.
It does depend on who you're actually with, doesn't it? Because the reason I'm asking that is because, you know I'm an avoidant. We've made that very clear, but the last relationship I was in, like, it made me anxious. Like, my anxiety was through the roof all the time, and like, I wanted to know where he's at or what he's doing, but I knew that was coming from the insecurity of the relationship. And I think if you are in that sort of relationship where you're naturally avoidant and it's making you extremely anxious, probably just as much of a red flag as anything.
Absolutely. It's
like,
so true.
Because that's what it came from. It just came from me feeling insecure in that relationship, which made me turn the other way. And then coming out of that, now I'm avoidant again because I'm scared of commitment.
But you'll probably be like me, whereas if you did start dating or seeing someone, that it would become that fearful avoidant where you do want it, but you're so scared of getting attached that you push them away.
Absolutely, and that is me to a T. I will run before it gets to that point.
Exactly, and it's so scary. So you have to work on that. I had to really actively work on that. I probably now say I'm avoidant. Or I wouldn't. I would just say I haven't met the right person yet. But I'm quick to walk away.
I think it does come down to the person though too, because like I was seeing a guy quite seriously in between obviously that relationship and now, and I was chill when it came to that, but at the same time, as soon as like the first red flag came up or something that I didn't like, I was like, no, I'm not wasting my time on this. I'm not putting myself through that stress again, which I think is a bad thing and a good thing too, because I could have just fucked him off and he didn't actually do anything that bad, do you know what I mean? But I'm like, no, like for me I'm like, if he did this, he'll do this next, and then I'm just gonna be hurt again. It is that fear.
It definitely is, and what I think I've got very good at is communicating it. So when they are doing something that maybe I don't like, actually just saying it rather than, because I used to just hold everything in and then just walk away. Or like this tiniest thing that they do, I'm like, right, that's it, you're going to be this way, I'm off. And so it just doesn't work out for me. So what I've been very good at is like actually voicing, which is so difficult for me, these things. And if they say something I like to hear and they're going to change, or they're going to work on it, or they understand, I will stick around. If they don't, I'm off.
And on that note, so let's say somebody is going through like a difficult time and they talk to their partner about it, I don't like this, and they promise to change. How many chances should you be giving them until you're like, okay, this person is actually changing?
It really depends on the situation, on what it is, but I would say you've got to have self-respect.
Yeah.
And so if it gets to the point, right, and they're saying, I promise, one more chance, and you've given them 5, like, they know.
Game over.
Like, yeah, they know that you're always sticking around. Like, you have to have self-respect, and the reason that they can talk you around is because they know that you're always going to be there no matter what. And so I would always say, actions speak louder than words. So if they say they're going to change and they actually physically show you their understanding, and they go out and not do it, like, perfect. Like, I'll give you 2 examples. The one that cheated on me, he used to say that he wasn't going out and he wasn't doing this and he wasn't doing that. Thursday would come around, that's it, he's out till Sunday.
Yeah.
My ex-boyfriend, from a couple of years ago, the only time he ever really, where I was a bit anxious, was one night he didn't come home until like 5. Well, I woke up at 5 in the morning, it wasn't there, and it's just not like him. And I didn't have a message to say where he was or what he was doing. And so I rang him and I was like, where are you? And he was like, what time is it? I was like, it's 5 in the morning. And he was like, oh my God, Ellie, I'm so sorry, I'm coming home right now. I was like, no. I was like, if you're fine and you're having a good time, like, stay out. I genuinely don't mind. But I was just wondering where you are. He never did that again.
Yeah, he knew.
And he was home, even though I genuinely was like, as long as you're fine and okay, and he was in, I don't know, a house party or whatever, I was genuinely fine because he made me feel so secure. But he was at home within 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's huge, isn't it? Because that is him respecting you as well. He didn't have to come home, or like, well, especially with boys, like that ex that cheated on you, he probably wouldn't even have answered the phone.
Oh,
if you
never.
You know, he
Absolutely
disappears,
not.
and then he calls you a psycho the next morning. Why were you ringing me 5 times?
Yeah.
Then that's it.
I told you I was out.
Yeah, you should have known, Ellie.
Oh, fantastic. I'm ready. Yeah,
no, absolutely, but it's setting boundaries, isn't it? And I think, like, everybody makes mistakes. Like, the girls make mistakes too, do you know what I mean? Like, yes, not to the extent of cheating, but you're not going to please everybody, and you have to know what your partner wants you to do or isn't comfortable with you doing as well. So I think everybody should get the opportunity to have the conversation and be like, okay, I'll do better.
Yeah.
But if they're not doing better and you're having the same conversation over and over again, you just don't have boundaries.
You don't have boundaries, or they're not respecting your boundaries, and so you have to have that self-respect to walk away, because it's only going to get worse.
Absolutely, because the more you let them away with it, they're just going to be like, oh sure, she'll be waiting around for me anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, well, if we're going to have an argument, I'm going to buy her something and it's all good.
It's fine. It's not a problem. It's so true.
Well, it does. It happens so I think it's like as worse as it can get at the minute. Like, it's a trend. Being toxic's a trend.
I know. It really, it's so difficult, because I do know some people in some really healthy, lovely relationships, and obviously they are very few and far between.
And that's sad.
That's really sad. It is sad. But unfortunately, we do all like a bit of toxic.
Yeah.
And when you get into that healthy relationship, especially if you're used to that push-pull behaviour, it can feel boring. And and I teach all of my clients, please push through the boringness, because it will just feel secure. It's not boring, it's peace.
But it does feel that way though, doesn't it? Like, I'm sure you've been through yourself coming out of that. It feel like there's no up and downs.
Yeah.
You know, you're not screaming at each other one day and loved up the next day, and that almost seems unhealthy because that's all you're used to. Because I know that's what it was like for me. Like, coming out of an unhealthy relationship, and like even just talking to people, I'm like, why are you texting me good morning? Like, what do you mean? Why are you being nice? What do you want?
What? Get off my phone, I'm busy.
Good morning, beautiful. What? That's not what you're meant to call. Honestly though, but don't get me wrong, I laugh about it because I'm aware of it, but I did catch myself doing that. I'm like, why are these people being nice to me? Like, I know you're not genuine, you're being fake because you want something.
See, that's why I think when you're in that mentality, it's so good to go on this healing journey and stay single, but really truly understand what you want from a relationship, what you bring to the table. But because you can fall into that and then you're pessimistic about all relationships and everyone else, and that is just you bringing in unhealed trauma into this dating world. And so what I would always suggest is, if you're in that mindset you're not really ready to date, and then to get yourself ready for when it comes, because trust me, that peaceful relationship is heaven.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we talked about this a few weeks ago around me not dating and like refusing to date, and like I think for myself it's not even that, you know, I don't think I'm over it or something like that. I'm just at a place in my life where I'm so content being on my own. And like it's peaceful, it's nice, I don't have to worry or think about anybody else, and I'm happy being in that place. So I feel like going on dates or trying to meet people now, like I would be stressing myself out more so than anything, you know?
We'll get that anxious feeling again.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want that.
I don't want that, absolutely.
No. And I think you have to have, like, I always have faith that there is, if I'm a good person out there who wants, you know, to be loyal, to be kind, to be loving, to have a family, to get married, then there is someone out there for me that wants the same thing.
Absolutely.
I've just got to kiss the few frogs along the way, and I have been doing that, and I haven't found my person yet, but I have the knowing that he's there, out there. And so I think rather than being pessimistic about all relationships are this, and going back to relationships are toxic, it's like we all love a bit of that, and even me, like I find myself when I'm in that, it's the worst feeling in the world, but when it's taken away from you, you're a bit like,
I messed up.
Yeah, like I loved it when he was really good.
See, when it was good, it was so good.
And also, like, if we're allowed to mention the word sex on here, like, the sex is great with a toxic person.
100%, because it's toxic.
Exactly.
It's like you're either really, really high or you're really low. So when you're low, it's like bringing dopamine to your system again.
Me and my friend were having this conversation the other day. Actually, there was a few of us, and like we were saying, when you meet that really peaceful, calm, nice person, the sex also kind of correlates to that.
Peaceful,
And so there's always, it's like, can you get everything that you want? In terms of, can you have the nice, kind, calm person who's also a little bit toxic in the bedroom?
I hope so.
I know people that have got that, but it's, again, is that a rarity, or is that then your persons come together? Because I'm holding out for it.
Yeah, and I get that, and I think like even if you put it down to that and like your sex life or whatever, that can improve when you're in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? Like communicate, tell them what you like, and that's it. Like
exactly,
you can always grow into that. But I think for a lot of people, if the sex is shit, that's where they usually dip from the get go.
100%. Like especially men.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a need for men.
Yeah.
Like they, through evolution, they're there to just reproduce for us.
Yeah,
like,
it's not intimacy to that same extent.
So, you know, they would want that, and if they're not happy at home with that, they are going to look elsewhere at some point. It might take a long time, but at some point I think that they will.
100%. And you know what I hate whenever like people compare men and women in like relationships and situations. We have different needs and different desires in that sense, and you know, women want certain things and men want certain things, and I feel like as a relationship you should come together to that compromise.
Exactly. And like there is so many sexless relationships out there now, which I've realised, and I would say that comes mainly from the man, which is interesting.
Okay.
So because I work with a lot of women and a lot of men, what I've found is that if there is a sexist relationship, 70% of it is because the man's not interested.
That's funny.
Which is interesting.
Oh my god, I would have never thought that.
Yeah. I think a woman's sex drive, especially as we get older, is way higher than a man's.
Okay.
And they say that a woman in her 30s is
That's her peak.
Her peak, because we're preparing ourselves to have children. And I completely agree on that.
Yeah. Okay. That's actually quite interesting. I would have never thought about it like that. Yeah. And I suppose, but it comes down to like relationships as well. Like if they're not being fulfilled, like from an emotional standpoint, that is going to be the first thing to go, isn't it? Because not that you're not attracted to the person anymore, but that chemistry almost dies out.
Yeah. And they just get into that routine and just like boredom, and like it's, you know, you go to work, you come home, you eat dinner,
you become roommates rather than people that are in a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely. We kind of went off on a tangent there. But
we did absolutely.
You know what? I actually enjoyed that. That was quite interesting. But with like, if we sort of revert back, if somebody say has been cheated on, and you know the way you said from the get go, you were almost questioning yourself, like, is it me? Was it because she was prettier? What would you tell somebody that has been cheated on recently and is just like putting the whole blame on themselves?
Is one, to stop putting the blame on yourself. No, it's so important that you allow yourself to just let these emotions come and go. Like actually sit there and say to yourself, all of the thoughts that are coming into your head, was it because of this, was it because of that? Write them all down, you know, be clear on those things, because they're areas where you're identifying your insecurities within yourself. Yeah. And so you need to work through them in order for you to gain that self-love again. But the main thing is, people cheat not because they weren't not necessarily satisfied. People cheat just because an opportunity came their way, especially with men. With women, it's really different. There's a lot more emotion involved, and there's something definitely missing in their relationship in order for them to look elsewhere. Yeah. But with a man, 90% of the time, it's just because an opportunity came their way and they didn't have the discipline, really, to say no.
100%. And that's the thing, like, it's not a reflection of you. And like you said, that's actually quite interesting with regards to men. Like for men, it could be like completely emotionless. Whereas for women, they will cheat when they're like being emotionally satisfied from some, like elsewhere. If your partner's not giving that to you, I think that's where it usually come from. Like they're not gonna leave. Well, I don't know, but I don't think women leave as much just for the act of sex.
And I will say, women cheat either across or up in terms of like what they're looking for in a person.
Yes, they're leveling up.
They're leveling up. And a woman always kind of really comes out of one relationship and levels up. A man, you could be the best at home. It doesn't matter. He's probably cheating down. Yeah. Because there is no, again, it's an opportunity. It's not necessarily that he's missing something in that relationship and he needs to better the person that he's with. It's not about that for them.
No, 100%. And it is, like, I think it works obviously from both ways, and I think a lot of girls cheat now too, which is sad. It used to be something that was put onto men quite a lot. It's not like that anymore. No. I think like it's quite mutual in terms of that, but I do agree from the perspective, like especially in marriages, like you hear this a lot, like if a man cheats it's because this young girl in their office came out or a night out or whatever. Whereas for women it'd be like somebody they work with that, you know, they've been talking to them about their problems, and that emotional side gets attached. But with regards to that side of things, like, do you think in any instance like you can justify the cheating, or like should you be grown enough to be like to your partner like that I'm not interested, or there's something that we're lacking here, I need to leave this relationship?
I would look, if your relationship is happy and healthy 95% of the time, you know, you're in a really happy relationship, fight for it. Yeah. Because finding that again in someone else is really, really difficult. And so I think if it is a genuine mistake and a one-off, and, you know, let's go with men here, like he was really stressed about something and, you know, he just felt off and something happened, right? And you are happy in that relationship, fight for it, right? If he has a past of serial cheating, run for the hills.
Yeah, it's a trend.
Because he doesn't feel the guilt, he doesn't feel the shame, he doesn't have empathy towards it, he's going to do it again. Yeah. Same with women, you know, I'm not just putting that on men here because women do cheat too. I do think with men, if they get cheated on, the chances of them taking the woman back very slim.
It's an ego thing for them, isn't it? Yeah.
Pride, ego, and also they're so protective of what's theirs that they've kind of tarnished the view of that person.
Yeah.
And so women, we're not like that. We're not. Yeah, we're protective of what's ours, but not instinctively like men are. And with women, we can overlook these things. Men would always feel like you've tarnished their relationship or their view of you.
Yeah, and that's 100%. Like, it makes sense because for them it would be down to their ego. Like, I think that would be bruised more so than the fact that you cheated. But like, do you think, like, personally, you could stay? No, I don't want to word it like that. But could you get over somebody cheating and work through it? In your opinion?
Me personally,
yeah,
I would struggle.
Yeah,
badly, and that's why I run for the hills the last time. But he was a serial cheat, so red flag.
But that's why she has said this: run for the hills.
Yeah,
she didn't.
I knew I could never trust him again.
Yeah.
And it was okay, what if he goes out on another boys' night out? What if he wants to go on a boys' holiday? All of those things I wouldn't enjoy, and it would cause me. I know what I'm like. I would be arguing with you about it. I'm a very peaceful, calm person.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be calm every time, and I'd be expecting you to message me, keep me updated, and all of those things that I don't want to be. So, from that standpoint, no, I don't think I could. If I was married with children, I would be very different. And if I was married with children, I don't actually want to put this out there because whoever my future husband is probably
yeah, there's no if because it's never going to happen.
So this isn't going to happen because you're going to love me
and only me
and only me and only have eyes for me. But I think it's very different if you're married with children. You've got that whole family unit, and a one-off mistake happened. I think I would fight for it.
Yeah, and I get that. It does make sense, and yeah. In the past, yeah, so I've been cheated on as well, and I stayed.
Okay.
Because it was that sort of push-pull relationship. It was exciting, it was just a wee bit of spice being added to the situation. But no, I did stay in the relationship, but it was like I never trusted him again. And like you said, it was that constant like, what's he doing? Where's he at? Like he'd be going to work or something, and my head would be wrecked. But I noticed, and I caught myself in the relationship, I was almost staying in it to prove to him that I'm better than that other girl. Why did you cheat? And it was down to that insecurity, until, and then I broke it down and I was like, it doesn't matter if the girl is better or if he's not better than me. I'm like, I don't actually want to be with you anymore, that's the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like to me, like trust is one of the main things. If you break my trust once, like it's very, very hard for me to rebuild that, and it's always gonna be, even if I forgive you, I'm not gonna get over it.
Funny thing you should mention there, if you are gonna stay in it, you have to have a word with yourself and say, right, okay, I'm wiping the slate clean.
Yeah.
Because otherwise this relationship is never gonna work. So I have to forgive you for this in order for me to make this work. I know myself that I'd bring it up all the time.
But that's exactly it, and I would be saying, I'm like, God love him, because it wasn't fair on him either, because I'd be like, I do forgive you, like that's what I said with you, it's fine, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about it, and then something would pop up, or he would go on a night out, or like something sneaky, which was all the time, by the way. There was always something going on, which probably didn't help the situation. Do you know what I mean? Maybe if it was a healthy relationship in that sense, and that situation went down, it probably would have been treated differently afterwards. So the circumstances weren't ideal, but I would be bringing it up all the time.
Yeah.
He would piss me off over not lifting something off the ground. I'd be like, you cheated on me.
Yeah, it's true. That is exactly, and you can't help yourself.
No.
But the other thing is, I do think both men and women, if you are forgiven for cheating, you kind of lose a little bit of respect for that person.
100%. Of course you do, because initially when you're in that relationship, especially if you thought everything was amazing and you're happy, that was your person. Do you know what I mean? And then you're like, to you it was like, oh, this is amazing, and all that's going to be at the back of your mind then once you find out is they obviously didn't feel that same way, because otherwise they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. But I also mean as well that the other person loses respect for you for forgiving them.
Oh, true.
they kind of go, well, she forgave me for that.
100%. It comes down to that walking all over you thing again, doesn't it? Because they're like, well, that's probably the worst thing I could have done to her. So, you know, if I go out and don't answer the phone, what's that? Like,
yeah, I know.
That I never thought of it like that, but that is very, very true. I think, like, to me, and I've walked the walk and talked the talk. I know it's not something I can get over, no matter how much I care about that person. I can pretend for some time, but it's always something that's going to eat me alive, even if I don't show it to them, you know. So yeah, but I do know, like, I know people that have been in relationships like that and have came out 100%. Well, I think they're 100%, but
me too. Yeah, me too. I have had that, and I think fair play to them for both parties being able to get through that and fight through that. But if it happened one more time,
oh yeah,
you're out.
100%, and that's just setting boundaries as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that again.
No.
So,
and I think in younger relationships, I personally couldn't ever forgive, which was, I was like 25 at the time.
Yeah.
I've got my whole life ahead of me. I'm not saying that.
And that's a very fair point too. Like, I think people get, like, even the pressure of, like, okay, well, you're 25 now, you should be in a relationship, like, you should be having kids by 30. Bullshit. Like, why would you be in a relationship, get married and have kids with somebody that you're not happy with?
Oh, absolutely.
And then that's you for the rest of your life. I never believed in that, and everybody laughs at me for it, but I've never believed in it.
I just think, like, I think as well, because we live here and we live this lifestyle, but I've always said that I wanted to have children and be married by 25. And then as time's gone on, it's just so important for me to have the right person. And I've lived my life. And so, yeah, I probably am ready for that now. But I've got no regrets on that. You know,
yeah.
I'm never going to look back and go, God, I got a mortgage at 23. I was stuck, had to stay where I was staying, got with this person, had children. And then I think, and then what? If you got married, had children, got a house, by the time you're 25 or 28, even 29, what's next for you?
That's it. And somebody cheats.
It's true though.
No, obviously only joking, but it is, you know, I think, but when you're younger and you were probably at that age where you were thinking, like, that relationship you were in, that was done deal. Like, you couldn't see anything outside of that, you know, that was the relationship you were going to be in, and I think that's what it comes down to. Because you've seen a future with them, whereas, like, I know, like, with my first boyfriend, I think I was with him when I was like 16 to about 19 or something like that. So it was like, well, I said first serious enough relationship, you know, like, we had nights away.
Yeah.
It was serious. Like, at the time, I was delusional, and I was like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you.
Me too.
Like
genuinely, he was who I was going to marry.
Yeah. And now, even towards the end of that relationship, I was like, I am only 19. I still have my whole life ahead of me.
I was broken though when he ended it with me. I was honestly heartbroken.
I ended that relationship, to be fair, so.
That's why you had this, I'm 19. I was like, oh no, I've got to go back out there and date him.
You shouldn't even have started it yet.
How old was that? 2021? Honestly. Exactly.
It is. Like, even now, what age are you?
31.
Sorry for asking, I know you didn't appreciate that. Well, I'm 25, and even now I'm like, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean?
You've got a few more toxic relationships to get yourself in, girl.
Stop it. No, I'm done. I'm over it.
You know, 25 was when I stopped my toxic little side.
I broke my cycle last year.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect age. Yeah, so absolutely you need this time to be free. Not going on getting anxious, going on dates and stuff like that. No way. After that breakup, I think I stayed single. I dated a few people, but I stayed single until my last relationship, which must have been a year and a half, 2 years of being single.
And I think that's really healthy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's like I said with myself, like, there's no desire, like, at the minute I just don't feel that desire to be with somebody, and a lot of people don't get it in that sense. Like, even my family be laughing. I was like, Aiste, are you texting anybody? No. Have you went on a date? I'm like, no. Have you been asked on a date? Yes. What'd you say? No. And it is, I'm just like, I'm just so content. I don't want anybody to disturb my peace. But
Yeah.
I also know, like, I'm not delusional in the sense I know that that's probably a sign in my head that I'm just not ready for it yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of that last relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. So I'm like, once I'm ready to start doing it again, start dating again, I'll be ready for it, you know?
Yeah.
I'll not want to spend Saturday nights on my sofa by myself and have a ball. Because that's what I want to do right now.
I want to do that and I feel so wrong. Like, that's honestly heaven to me, but obvious, and in fact I do it way too often than I should for, but we're like, so obviously being 31, I'm like, right, I do need to figure that out.
Yeah.
Figure that part out. But I won't settle.
And that's the main thing.
Yeah, I have people in my life, they're just not for me. Or what? Not that I've got too high expectations, absolutely not. But in terms of, again, healthy, loyalty, kind, loving, ambitious, you have to have that. You have to be, and you have to be wanting the same things in terms of wanting to settle down.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, you know, yes, it is something you're ready for, and you're maybe, because you're 31, you're feeling it, and maybe the pressure a wee bit more. But this is the thing, you don't want to be 31 unsettled and unhappy by 35.
Yeah.
You could settle when you're 35, and that could be like those 4 years of waiting essentially could have been the best choice you ever made, you know. And unless, I think, like you said, you know what you want now, and that's powerful. You know, nobody can take that away from you.
And the most important thing I would say to all single people that may be like in your 30s and you're panicking about the timeline, just make sure you're still enjoying your everyday.
Yeah.
Because life is for living, and you could meet someone tomorrow and your freedom's taken away, like you're prioritizing someone else, and then like everything's going to change, and for the good. But at the same time, you look back at this time and go, oh, I wish I enjoyed it more, I wish I was more present, I wish I just took satisfaction of coming home and not having to worry what someone else wants for dinner.
Absolutely. And I think so many people are afraid of being single, and they're like, oh, I've been single for a couple of months or whatever. I'm like, embrace that time. Like, all of your time right now is yours. Like, you don't know when you'll meet somebody. Like you said, it could be tomorrow, and everything's gonna flip, because you will have to schedule somebody else into your calendar.
Yep.
You will have to, you know, do whatever, go for dinners or whatever else, which is amazing. But enjoy your time that you can spend now with your friends, with the girls, you know, have your nights out and everything. Like, people look at being single as something that's really negative, when it could actually be where most memories are made.
Oh, I think it's the best time ever.
Yeah.
And you can get your routines right, you can get your hobbies right, you can get your life on track in the way that you want it to be. So
you figure out what you want as well by being single, because when you're in a relationship, it depends what type of relationship, but that other person's impact will always affect your decisions. Yeah. You know,
and it merges into the one.
100%, and sometimes that can be positive, and sometimes it can hold you back. So you need to, I think, like, coming out of relationships and like jumping into another one, I think that is coming from a place of insecurity for a lot of people too, and that fear of being alone.
Fear of being alone, tying your worth to being validated by someone else.
Yeah.
And so you tie your worth to your relationship status. That's a very, very dangerous place to be. And so you have to come out of that and go, I am happy, I am single. You can get validated by anyone in your life.
Yeah.
But validate yourself. And then if you can get your life how you want to live it, someone's coming in to complement your life, not complete it. And so like, I always ask my clients, and I'll say to them, if you were to get in a relationship next week, guaranteed you knew that's what was happening, or in a month's time, what would you do for yourself between now and then? And ask yourself that question, because get it done. Stop sitting there moping around and sad that you're the one that hasn't got someone to cuddle up to on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Go and do the things that you want to do, because you have got your whole life to be with someone else.
Yeah, to cuddle up with somebody, and that's the thing. Whereas I feel like your time being single is actually more limited than your time in a relationship.
I couldn't agree more.
And yeah, you need to embrace that, and I feel like that's where you learn the most about yourself. Like, I know, like, even for myself, like, I always talk about this, even on the podcast, like, the growth I've seen in myself over the last year would have never happened if I bounced from one relationship into another, because I wouldn't have that opportunity. I would have just fell into somebody else's routine. You know, I probably would have never moved out here.
It's true. One of the bravest things you can actually do is embrace being single.
Yeah.
And when you can become content being single, you attract one, better for you because you're not just settling with the next person that gives you attention, and two, you have more confidence and security in the fact that if it didn't work out, it's not going to end your world.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, because the moment someone breaks up with you and you're used to being in relationship, it feels like your whole world's ending and you've got nothing left. I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt, but like my last breakup broke me more than any of the others, and I was a heartbreak coach. Like, it was really difficult for me to get through, but I always knew in the back of my mind I'm going to be okay because I was happy single before.
Yeah.
And that is a fight that you can get through. It doesn't take the pain away, but it's like, okay, just let me get through this. Let me do this for myself. Let me, knowing what works to get you to a happy and content place, you can get through anything in life.
And I love how you sort of mentioned that, like, that's the thing, it's gonna hurt regardless, of course. It's like losing a friend.
Yeah.
It's losing your best friend and that side of things. Of course it's gonna hurt, but you're not necessarily losing something that was a part of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you have that built up going into the relationship. Whereas if you revolve your whole life around other people and you're doing things to make them happy, you're always gonna feel like you're left with nothing, because you initially built nothing for yourself to begin with because you didn't have that time.
No. And so many people merge, and I feel like women do this more than men, but you become your partner.
Yeah.
Whatever they like, whatever they want to do, and you just go with what they do. So then when that's taken away from you, you've just lost your sense of self.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, now what's for me? I don't even know what I like and dislike. I don't even like myself. And so it's so important. If you are single, become happy being single. And you'll actually start attracting people.
100%, because you're gonna start showing up as the best version of yourself. You're gonna show up as the actual version of yourself, like you said. You're not merged with somebody else. And without being single, like, especially if you've always been in relationships your whole life, you don't know who you are.
No.
You don't know who you are without that, and until you find that, you will probably keep ending up in relationships where it is that sort of like, let's come together as a companionship, more so than a partnership, but not really a partnership. It's just somebody to cuddle.
Yeah, somebody to give me attention, somebody to spend my time with.
Yeah, like, of course, if you're gonna be, being single is gonna be the one thing that's gonna, first of all, grow you as a person, and you're actually gonna start attracting people that you want to be around as well, because you're giving yourself the chance to figure it out.
I was gonna say, if you're one of these people that jump from relationship to relationship, you fall in this cycle of it never working out.
Yeah.
And you think that the best thing since sliced bread when you meet them, and then all of a sudden, like, true colours start to show, and then it fails for whatever reason, or you're not showing up as the person you would need to show up for, be in that relationship, because you don't know yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, on that note of jumping from relationship to relationship, and you mentioned like true colours coming out and that side of things, how long do you think you should like know somebody or talk to somebody or see somebody or whatever before you actually get into a seriously committed relationship with them?
I would say you cut the other ones off when somebody wants that exclusivity with you, but and only if that person is right. They're showing you they want the same things as you, your values align, your lifestyle aligns, and things feel good. I don't think, and I don't want to sit here and say you shouldn't get into a relationship or make it, official until this time, but they say 3 to 6 months is when people's true colours start to show. So you could see that person for 3 months, or you could, cut the bullshit if you want to and just go, right, okay, we like each other, we're getting to know each other, let's keep it exclusive. But you wouldn't probably truly know that person until 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. That's actually a long time, isn't it?
It's a long time. I also think it's more so men that true colours come out about 3 months.
Yeah.
Because men have this thing where they're trying to win you over.
They want to impress you.
They want to impress you, so they're showing the best version of themselves. Obviously we all do, but I think men do it more so than women. And that's when obviously their mask starts to slip.
Yeah, that's a very, very fair point too. And I think with women, they do usually, like, when they come into a relationship, they're trying to show, obviously, of course, impress naturally, show the best parts of themselves too. But I think with women, like, if they are insecure in a certain area, or if they're prone to arguments, it'll come out a lot sooner. Do you know what I mean? Compared to the man.
Especially if they're, you know, jealous. Or
Jealousy,
insecure.
yeah.
That will come out pretty fast.
Yeah, 100%. But thank you so much for coming on. This has definitely actually been very, very interesting.
Yeah, I've loved being on. We've gone on a tangent of all
yeah, literally. We took all routes, but if there is somebody going through a heartbreak at the minute, is there anything, like a message in particular you would want to say to them? That's really struggling, obviously.
Right, if you're really struggling, please don't bury your feelings, because they are going to come up later on. So you have to feel it all. It's the most painful thing that you can go through. The hardest thing. At some point you probably think this is never going to end.
Yeah.
And you can just think, oh, I'm better off, you know, not even being here anymore, because this pain needs to go. The anxiety is there. All of that is normal. But one thing I would say is to feel your feelings, spend your time with people who lift you up. Cut contact. You have to cut contact. You don't have to say this is forever, but just for you to just get through this initial painful phase. Then you probably don't even want to contact them once you're through that phase. Just to say for you to do it now, and then make sure that you're putting some really good healing self-care practices in place that work for you, in order for you to make sure that your days don't feel so heavy.
100%. And I think like cutting contact is the main one. You like stop watching their stories, stop trying to figure out what they're doing, stop taking your phone to watch their stories, you know, because you are setting yourself up to be hurt. Even if there's nothing there, you will find yourself, like you will find something yourself that will end up hurting you.
Yeah,
and it's not worth it. And yeah, if you are still struggling, please contact Ellie.
Yeah, and then I will help you as well through your heartbreak from A to B and get you to the best version of yourself.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. It was lovely to have you on, and yeah, we'll catch up with you next Wednesday.